Good morning. Deep introspection this morning as I begin my 5th year of doing videos every day. This video is being recorded actually on the 11th of January 2015, the first day of the 5th year since I began on January 11th, 2011, making a video every day. And of course, it will be the video for the 12th, so the video that actually counts as being for the first day was the interview with the ambassador, the conversation with the ambassador that I had yesterday. The title for this video is Activating Spiritual Warriors, Let Light of Truth Shine. A viewer commented on my video, Seeing the Bigger Picture, Perpetual War. Instead of calling it a war on ignorance, let's call it a mission to awaken. We don't need any more war thinking. I like the idea expressed in the phrase, a mission to awaken. However, spiritual warfare is the reality of what is happening here on Earth, and I suspect other parts of the universe as well. As I see it, extraterrestrial entities have been battling over the soul of mankind for millennia at least. I'm inclined to believe the reports that certain malevolent beings interfered with the original creation by genetically modifying human DNA, including the deactivation of certain strands that would cut off or limit our consciousness. Their intent was the enslavement of humanity for their own purposes. For eons, they have held the upper hand. If there are to be any significant changes in our status, I believe we will have to align with our higher angels, both within and without, and turn up the lights. We need to be activated as spiritual warriors. We cannot, we must not remain ignorant of the situation in which we find ourselves. As I said at the very beginning of this very introspective space, I wrote that blurb yesterday before I received word whether or not the ambassador was going to be able to do a video with me. So this might have been the video for yesterday, but then the ambassador said he was feeling better and we ended up doing the video together. So this was actually prepared one day ago. And so I've had a whole day of things happening in my world, comments coming through and whatnot. And that's what creates the deep introspection, because I last night went to hear my friends Armand and Angelina perform at the New Way, where I used to be on the board and a member for over 5 years, almost 5.5 years, whatever it was. And there were only 12 people that came out to hear him, which was disappointing, but I was the first one there, except for the minister of the New Way, Mark, and of course Armand and Angelina were there ahead of me, setting up for the program. We talked. Mark, Armand, and I had a conversation beforehand about being and doing, and the idea of activation, and I don't know that we actually talked about being spiritual warriors, although it's very in the forefront of my mind. But so much of my community, as I've said before, is into this being mode. And I did mention that someone had sent me an image of a person sitting in a meditative state in a lotus position with I'm looking at the picture right now on the screen here, with a little green thing at the third eye spot, and holding a little cup or glass or something, a chalice that is about where the solar plexus would be. And the writing on the image is, there is nothing to do but to be. And I actually posted that on my Facebook page, and I said, let's see. I said, it's a New Age mantra, I think. Um, let's just be. Let's just be. And I wrote, if I'm not mistaken, a dead person can qualify. A dead person can be silent, be ignorant, be asleep, be immobile, and even be buried, be inactive, be unaware, be unconcerned, be oblivious, be unmotivated. I skipped that whole line. The living have a unique quality, the ability to do things, to influence the world, to speak out, to love, to have opinions, to create, to build, to motivate others. The living have so much more potential than the dead, which may be why the Vatican and our governments consider us dead in maritime admiralty canon law. To each his or her own. At this point, I still choose life and doing over simply being what any corpse can be, a slave. Actually, corpses can't be slaves. But people that are dead while living not only can be, but are slaves. And so inside of me this morning, prior to actually beginning this video, and in meditation before I even got out of bed, as I'm praying for different people that I pray for on a regular basis, including the whole world, there's within me this recognition that there are these two elements in mankind, one to escape, one to not be touched by all the bad stuff that is going on around us and in our lives even, to be oblivious, to hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. And then there's the other part that isn't happy with that. And somebody sent me a video here this morning. Let's see. I'm going to just pick the replay again. Test tube. The opening quote is from Ernest Becker. Man is literally split in two. He has an awareness of his own splendid uniqueness in that he sticks out of nature with a towering majesty. And yet he goes back into the ground a few feet in order blindly and dumbly to rot and disappear forever. There's great irony, great paradox, and to me great injustice in the way life happens, the way we experience human life here on this planet. There's a huge dichotomy. And that in that video, which is only 2 minutes and 54 seconds, and I wanted to get the embed code, but it's one of those damn, excuse me, Facebook videos that has an embed code that's 2 miles long instead of a normal embed code like they have in for a YouTube video. I wish they wouldn't be allowed to post Facebook videos because they're so hard to share, they're so hard to embed. And I want to use this thing because he says, look, he ends it by saying, I want to live life to the fullness and I want to hang on. I don't want to be unattached. I want to be attached and to appreciate and enjoy life to the fullness. And I can't do that by being unattached, by just being and not doing. I want to be in love and I want to share that love. And, you know, I'm ad-libbing and adding to what the video has. And I put a link to it, but they make the link so long in Facebook. It's crazy. Anyway, the battle in me is raging because I know that we will always be on the wheel of slavery, on the wheel of reincarnation, on the wheel of meaningless life. Even if you try to make and derive as much meaning out of it, it ends up, you disappear forever. as you. I'm for the ego. I'm for the identity. I'm for life making sense. And as a poet, as someone that has felt deeply and allowed myself to go deeply into my own soul, I've seen this dichotomy. I've seen the paradox. I've seen the battle and the struggle between the part of me that wants to hang on and make life good and the part of me that just wants to ignore the fact that it's going to end, that somebody's going to pull the rug out from under me, and that I'm not in control, that I'm a slave, and I have nothing that I can do about it except to accept it. That's where most people in my spiritual community are. Well, there's nothing I can do about the world and its situation. The best I can do is to go inside and to find that place of peace inside of me. And this is probably a totally different talk than I would have given if I had given this 24 hours ago. If instead of the ambassador connecting with me, I'd given this talk, I was in a completely different place just one day ago than I am right now. So my focus has shifted in the last 24 hours. I was actually thinking yesterday when I wrote the blurb about how to connect with the elementals. What are the elementals, you ask? The elementals are basically the spirit world, or the dimensions of reality that we don't normally recognize with our five senses. It takes the ESP, the extrasensory perception, to even connect with that part of the world that we live in. But yet that part of the world exists, I believe. I'm sure it does. And I'd like to be able, and I'm asking my spirit, my soul, my God, my Creator, to help me connect with these elementals that are going to help me be a spiritual warrior, so that I can stop as much of the injustice as possible, so that I can right as many of the wrongs as possible, so that I can help people get off the wheel of karma. Or if they're going to be on the wheel of karma, let the karma be fast, so that the people that throw out evil toward others get the evil coming back on themselves quickly. And if they don't repent, destructively, so that they no longer infest the society on this planet. That's what's, to me, there can never be the kingdom of heaven on earth as long as you have the psychopath in humanity in charge of the game. Now, you can call that the ego, but it's not the ego. The ego is simply identity. There's nothing wrong with having an identity. There's nothing right or wrong. It's just like most things in the world. There's nothing right or wrong about them inherently within itself. It's what we do with it. It's not about even being. It's about doing. What do we do with the realities that we have, that we experience, that we face day by day? I want, and I've wanted since I was a little kid, I've wanted to see the kingdom of heaven on earth. I've prayed, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Well, if it's already being done on earth as it's being done in heaven, then heaven isn't going to be any better than earth is. Hell is going to be permeating all of our realities, because as above, so below. There's one of our spiritual cliches. So does this war that we see taking place on earth, that we feel taking place within our own being, within our own soul, is this a universal thing? That's the same thing in the Godhead? Is there not a place of peace, a place of stability, a place of righteousness, a place of justice, a place of compassion, a place of mercy? Is there not a good place somewhere? And cannot good rule over evil? And you say, Ron, there is no evil. That's just a judgment. I know that's the New Age way of looking at it. That's the new thought way of looking at it. It's just judgment. Get out of your judgment, Ron. That's the ego. No. I'm paying attention to the world that I live in. And I live in this world. It's real. People are dying. The Connecticut Supreme Court just upheld a lower court ruling that this 17-year-old girl in Connecticut again, who has cancer, has to undergo chemotherapy, even though she and her parents don't want that. The state is forcing her and forcing the parents to allow the poisoning of her body, which destroys her immune system. It destroys healthy cells as well as the so-called cancerous cells, which is just a fungus. And there are cures for cancer. But the medical establishment doesn't want the cures. Folks, we need to look at the world that we live in. And it's not about just being. It's about doing something about it. It's insane. Do you not see the insanity? Do you bury your head in the sand and shove it up your butt because you don't want to see? These are the things that I look at, and it's why we need to develop and activate the spiritual warrior in all of us, especially those that claim to be spiritual, especially those that claim some level of enlightenment. There has to be both the inner work and the outer work. It's not an either or, it's a both and. Anyway, I'm glad that I'm sharing with you today from my heart. I'm disappointed that some of my friends still send me emails saying how they don't like the ambassador and how they don't like the emphasis on warfare. I get it. I know that's what you believe. I get it. I'm doing the best I can, folks. I'm going to continue as long as I can. As long as I have breath, as long as I have the physical capabilities in my world, in my environment of speaking to you every day, I am waging war on ignorance, waging war on financial tyranny, and my mission is to awaken humanity so that we can together create heaven on earth. Thank you for listening. Namaste.